Today we're going to be talking about sending and receiving messages. It's called communications. Now we do that all the time. In fact, hang on, I'm communicating with you right now. So let's see how that really works, because what happens is most often we just do it wrong. People don't understand us. Now, as we begin to communicate, we have to start with two basic principles. First, there is the sender. And our sender is the person who is speaking, who is telling us what's going on. Right this minute, I'm the sender. So I'm sending a message to you. Now, a sender sends that message out, and then a receiver is the one who hears it and understands it. So right this minute, if I'm the receiver, that makes you the receiver. And so we need to understand those two messages. Now, the funny thing is when I send, you receive, then you typically do something with that. So if I had you pull out Cornell notes and you were taking Cornell notes, you'd be writing those down. And then on those Cornell notes, when you're marking them up and putting your questions out on the outside, you would all of a sudden become the sender. Or if I ask you a question and you begin to respond, so I ask you this question, you begin to respond, we change places, and you become the sender and I become the receiver. And so it's this communication process that's going on all the time. Now, it happens at home, it happens on TV, it happens at school, and so we have this sender-receiver going on. Kind of like when you get in the car and you turn on the radio, you have a sender who has this tower sending out this frequency, maybe it's music or whatever, and then you have your receiver, which is that box in your car with the antenna that takes it in, translate it so you can hear it. Well, your ears are the translator, your mouth is the sender. And so we need to understand that we have sending, communicating, and receiving. So let's go on and see what else we have here. Now, when people communicate, they communicate in different ways. Not only do they send and receive, but a sender communicates in three different ways. And I'm going to post up an article for you to read on it, but let's see if we cover it real quick here. First, what we have is our passive communicator. So, our passive communicator, he kind of listens, but he doesn't really want to get involved. And you could say something, but no, I'm not, whatever you want. We all know those people. In fact, sometimes we're those people. And my wife will say, well, let's go out to dinner. And I'll say, well, what do you want? She goes, oh, I don't know. What do you want? Well, she becomes the passive communicator. She doesn't tell me what she wants. Now, I know there are things she doesn't want, but she becomes the passive communicator. Now, not only is there a passive communicator, someone who kind of tells you but doesn't just come out and tell you, there is the aggressive communicator. And the aggressive communicator, he's the one that's he gets in your face and he hollers and screams. Not all the time. Most of the time, he's always saying, no, you're going to do it this way. No, this way. We've all been in that group where one person came in and said, no, you're doing it wrong. Here's the way we're going to do that. Well, that is aggressive communication. Now, the passive communicator goes, oh, okay, we'll do it your way, instead of speaking up. So the aggressive communicator most often runs over the passive communicator. So that's our second. There is a third one, and that is I can't even spell today, our assertive communicator. And that's the communicator who says, no, this is the way I think we need to work it. They're not aggressively pushing at you, but they logically lead you where you need to go. They're willing to step back and say, okay, let me listen to you, whereas the aggressive does not. The assertive will listen to you and then take the lead and communicate where you need to go, helping you. A big difference between these two. Now, let me share with you what's going to be most. If I'm a passive, people are going to run over me. If I'm aggressive, I'm going to run over people and I'm going to not make friends. So what I need to learn to be is the assertive communicator. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take this idea along with the reading that I'm going to have you do on passive aggressive and assertive communication. And I want you to tell me in a short piece what kind of communicator you are. Tell me why you're that communicator, meaning why do you think you communicate passively or aggressively or assertively? And maybe even give me an example. In fact, let's do that. Give me an example of a time when you have been one of these, all right? Make certain you define each one of them in your paper. So tell me, real short, tell me what each one of them is, tell me what you are, and give me just an example and turn that into me. I look forward to seeing you guys. Y'all have a great evening.